Hey guys, welcome back to another stream. Overland and Chelsea, this is not our usual day and time. I have been really sick this week and haven't put out any content for like almost a week now. And I was just like dying to get back to it. So Matisse graciously rescheduled with me so we could still give you guys our weekly show. I'll write a couple of days late. And of course, there's so much to talk about. But Matisse, thank you so much for rescheduling. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Listen, you gotta be in shape for these comments, you know what I'm saying, and this chat. Big up your damn selves as well. So back at full fitness. Ellie is now recovered from the knock and she's available for the game against Burnley. So big up.
Yeah, just a heads up, guys. If you see me drinking like a ton of water, I drink like this is like a liter. I've been drinking like 5 or 6 of these a day. So I'm probably gonna.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. I need to adopt that.
I know. So I'm gonna be drinking a lot of water. I apologize in advance, but my throat gets like very parched. But Matisse, obviously, there's like so much to talk about. It's been a while because you were also busy last week with everything with the Champions League as well, and I was busy as well. So we did it. We had actually
you did a great job, by the way. I need to tell you that in person. You did a brilliant job. Seriously. I don't know if you guys seen the clip. I'm sure you have because it did great on Twitter there, and I'm sure you saw it on Instagram as well. But you looked like you were home. Do you know what I mean? You were home. It was brilliant. They went to your segment, and you stood up there in front of the stadium there, gave the facts and figures, gave the report, and I was just like, yes, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about right here. So yeah, I was very proud because I've seen your journey from the beginning, obviously from the byline and everything. All the videos on Twitter coming to YouTube. So when I seen that, I was just like, yes, I'm very happy. Very happy.
Oh my God. You're so
well done.
sweet.
Well done.
Thank you.
Smashed it.
I really appreciate it. Guys, if you don't know what Matisse is talking about, I did a segment for the Premier League in front of the Wanda, which was really cool. And I felt like so at home. It was just like, oh,
it was brilliant.
I really love doing this.
I was like, do you know what? Yeah, this is. I hope they're hiring you now. Because it's not easy. Like seriously, I've done a bit of TV stuff as well, and it's not easy. Like it's very different to like when the camera's in your face and you know that you're live. And I mean, I know we do it on YouTube, but it's just different in person when you've got the camera right there and you know that you're representing like a massive platform like that. It takes some getting used to. So yeah, it's not easy at all, but you did it. You smashed it, man. Smashed it.
Well, I had to like memorize. I wrote the script. I had to memorize. I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna get through this? But I'm super happy about it. Thank you a lot, Carlito. It means a lot. Yeah, that was like one of the highlights of my life.
It was top quality for real. It was.
Thanks. Hopefully more to come. Let's get talking about Chelsea. Obviously, there's like so much to talk about. I actually didn't do anything about Luton. I know that really wasn't the highlight this week, but I was too sick to post anything. So I did want to just at least give my subscribers a little something about this match, even though maybe people are like, it was a couple of days ago. But at one point, I really felt like we were going to get knocked out. I was like, is this going down? Because I couldn't even blame the players so much with the news dropping, like in typical Chelsea style, like the news dropping of Abramovich selling, and then 2 minutes later, like team news for this game.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. It all happened so fast.
I think you froze, Matisse.
I froze. It looks like you froze. Let us know in the chat who's frozen. For me, it's Ellie. But then again, it could be me. And maybe Ellie's saying that I'm frozen. So we're going to see who's really frozen.
Sorry. Hello?
I think it was you, mate. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not. Yeah,
I connected to your Wi-Fi. My bar's at 1, which I don't understand at all because I'm connected to this Wi-Fi extender that I have right here. Now it's gotten a little bit better. I didn't realize I wasn't connected to the extender. I apologize, guys. So sorry. It should be better now. But anyways, I was saying, were you like at all worried during that game? Like, oh, we're totally getting knocked out.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. Obviously, the statement dropped just before the lineup, and I just didn't care. Like, I was doing a watch along on Twitch, but I wasn't really watching. I was like back and forth with the chat, disengaged, not really too bothered. I knew the players wouldn't be in the right mental space either, so I knew the performance was going to be pretty poor. And when Luton scored, I just was like, it is what it is.
Within
Like if
2
we
minutes as well.
yeah, like if we lose the game, it's not in the grand scheme of things in comparison to the statement we just got. It didn't feel like it meant anything, you know. It didn't mean much anyway. Fifth round of the FA Cup versus a whole change in the hierarchy is like two completely polar opposites. You know, it's two completely different stratospheres. So I'm glad we won and I'm glad we're through to the next round. But I'm not going to lie, during the game, I really didn't really mind what happened. I was just like, I just wanted the game to be over. Like I didn't even really want to cover the game. And I know there's quite a few Chelsea fans who said they couldn't even watch the game because like it's so difficult to hear that and read that statement and then switch on and like focus on a match. And it's just, especially a game like that, you know, it's like, it's not easy. You need like a literal Champions League final level game to like focus. Like it had to be of that stature to focus. A normal Premier League game or an FA Cup game, love the competition, but it's not enough. It would need to be a final to literally put focus back on that match because that statement was too big.
I know it really was, and it was almost lucky that I was a little bit, well, not a little bit. I was quite sick, so I wasn't covering anything, anyways. And I was like, I'm just going to watch the match, and get through with it. But like you said, it was a very minor talking point of the match. But something that I did like was like I felt that Chelsea really showed their tenacity in that match, going down twice, not once but twice in that match, going down away from home as well, and then going on to win the game. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Luton are a good team. You know, they're sixth in the Championship. I think they're going for the playoffs. We saw Middlesbrough knock out Tottenham and Manchester United. We know these Championship teams are serious anyway. You know, they're definitely nothing to slouch at because not only have we benefited from sending our players out on loan to that division, but we've seen teams knock out big teams from that division many a time in the past. I remember when we lost to Bradford at home at Stamford Bridge. I think it was like 4-2. Do you remember that game in the FA Cup? We lost like 4-2.
2-0.
Yeah.
And I was like flying high, happy, breezing, and then
yeah, and then bang.
I remember what the hell is going on? I don't remember a lot of scores, Matisse. You know me.
But
like,
you remember that one. Yeah. And I think they were in League One at the time when they knocked us out. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it was in the Championship. So it was even lower. I remember when we lost to Barnsley away in the FA Cup as well. Barnsley away. I think it was 1-0. And I'm sure there's a few more I'm forgetting. Those are just the first two that pop off at the top of my head. So yeah, it's really not easy to, you know, to deal with a team like that, especially in that situation for the players. And I thought to get out of a win, I thought they did well. I was never going to look at performance and say, oh, this guy didn't play well. This guy, no. And especially when it's highly rotated as well. You know, people are playing out of position. You know, the team's weaker. And obviously we're away from home. So Luton fans are right up for it. It's a big difference from playing from Stamford Bridge. So, yeah, I'm just happy that we're through. And I'm glad we're through because I still want to win the trophies. It's 4 domestic final cup finals in a row at Wembley. We've lost 2 in the Carabao and 2 in the FA Cup. That is mad. That is awful.
The success rate at Wembley is really, really poor. And we were so close. We hadn't talked about, I hope that my Wi-Fi hasn't gone again.
No, you're good.
No, you're just really still. Okay.
Yeah. I just scared the shit out of you.
I was like, oh no, but it hasn't.
I should just do that now for banner, I swear. Oh god.
No, but what I was saying is we didn't get a chance to talk about that Carabao Cup final, but we were like so freaking close at that point. I feel like it could have been up to a coin toss. And that was like really unfortunate. I mean, I'm trying to be positive, right? Realistically, we should have finished that game before it went to penalties because we had so many chances.
Yeah.
But at the point that it gets to penalties and you both score 10, I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, it's fine.
At that point, I don't even care anymore. Just end the game. And I was there. I was there live. Do you know, it was such a traumatic experience. Yeah. It was not traumatic, but like, you know, I'm over dramatizing it. But I was emotionally just emotionally and physically drained after watching that game live. Like the whole experience. That was my first cup final I went to as well, because I've actually traditionally avoided cup finals on purpose because I could never actually bring myself to go because I'd be too nervous. Like I'm already nervous as it is because I obviously, like I've always said, I value every single trophy. Obviously, Champions League and Premier League sit above the cups, but I want every cup. There's no cup, like official cup, that we go into that I'm like, whatever, apart from maybe the Community Shield. But literally, so that's why I've always stayed away from finals, because I'm too nervous. I can barely even handle watching it on TV, let alone like in the ground. So that was the first one. I was like, you know what, cool, I'm gonna go. I went, and now I know why I don't go. Now I know why I go to the semi-finals, and I just stopped from there, because it's literally just such a dramatic experience. But it was good to go, but it's so stressful. It's mad. It's mad how stressful it is.
It's like so nice if you go and you win, but if you go and you lose, I would just feel like crap. And so I was even thinking about it for the Champions League final. Like, it was in Porto, which isn't that far from Madrid. It's like a 5-hour drive, and I was like thinking to convince my husband to like go to Porto to even just to watch like the game in a bar or something. And then I was like, you know what, if we lose, I can't freaking take it. Like, I would just rather be like in my home. So I do want to talk about the Burnley match, and then we'll get into the future of Chelsea, what this stream is about, because I know we're going to get a lot of questions about that, and I prefer to do it once we have a lot more people in the stream. How are you feeling about this Burnley match, kind of knowing that, you know, we have the FA Cup, like there's this uncertainty surrounding Chelsea. You know, race for top 4, I feel like it's still anybody's game, and I think we're in a pretty comfortable position, but still I don't want to risk anything. How are you feeling about this game? What do you expect?
I'm nervous because I think playing these, you know, relegation stricken teams where they're in dogfights to stay in the division, they're not great teams to play at this stage of the season, especially when you've got mid-table teams like Brighton, like Leicester, like, you know, Crystal Palace, who are maybe not fighting for so much, and maybe will take a little bit of concentration sometimes away, and they'll be kind of on the beach a little bit early in the season. But when it comes down to relegation sides, they are now fighting tooth and nail to stay in the division. Burnley are a team that I've actually predicted to stay up. I just feel like the window that they had is really for me a window of improvement. I know Chris Wood left for Newcastle, but now I actually think they've improved their strike force by signing Weghorst. I think he's technically a better player, and he's got an incredible record out in the Eredivisie and the Bundesliga as well to match it, and they made a profit. So, and on top of having, you know, Cornet and having, you know, McNeil and all these other guys going forward that are obviously going to cause problems. And they're just well organized, well set up by Dyche. We know what we're going to get with Burnley. It's a 4-4-2. It's long ball. It's set pieces. It's a windy, rainy day in Burnley at Turf Moor. I ain't a weatherman, but I know the weather. Do you know what I'm saying?
You don't need to know. It's just every time like that. Yeah. I was just checking out the Premier League table, and I didn't realize that Everton are really like in a relegation battle.
Yeah.
Like I knew that they were, but, and of course they do have, like they have 24 games played. Brentford have 27, and they're sitting just 2 points above them. So I think they're going to be fine, but right now they're currently sitting in 17th, which is interesting. Side note, guys, sorry. Yeah, I think that we should be beating Burnley, but didn't we draw 1-1 with them at home this season? Am I remembering a score correctly?
Did we draw with them at home? I think. Do you know what? I'm not even gonna lie. I actually don't remember the home game.
Let me.
Nuts, because I usually remember every single game.
I know.
This one, do you know what? This week is such a mess for me in terms of everything that's been going on. I actually am now like all over the place in terms of remembering things I usually remember. I don't know actually. Yeah, let me see. Let's see. Burnley at home. It doesn't. Burnley at home. I've got such memories of like Nemanja Matic. Do you remember when he got like that really rough tackle, and then I think he was sent off. And I also remember, I think Gary Cahill was sent off at home to Burnley as well, and then Boga had to come off. So like, I just remember so many bad days of Burnley at home. They're just causing just so many problems. Wouldn't surprise me.
We literally get regulated, but we would always like lose to them. I don't know what it is. Like,
Oh, yeah, it was 1-1. You're right. Yeah, last minute equalizer. This is why I probably tried to forget it. um,
I remember this game. I don't know why. It's always a tough game against Burnley. I don't know why. We always struggle against them. I feel like we tend to struggle against low block teams.
mm,
Um,
yeah.
in the game against Luton, we saw like even though there were missed opportunities, that it seemed like the front three of Christian Pulisic, Mason Mount, and Kai Havertz were seemingly gaining some chemistry. Like there were a lot of chances, and I felt like we could have easily been like 3 or 4 goals up. Like some of the finishing was just really unlucky, or it was like a hair offside.
Mm.
So is that the front three that you would go with against Burnley?
Mm. Yeah, I would. I've just put out my preview, and for me, yeah, I completely agree. It's got to be Kai. I'd go Ziyech and Pulisic. I think Mason last month or two hasn't been great. I know he's been having an injury as well. I think he may have come back. At this point, I'm just assuming that everybody had an injury at some point. But I don't think he's been as good as Ziyech at all. Ziyech has obviously been probably the best attacker over the last 2-3 months. And Kai's been really good in the Carabao Cup final. Really good against Lille. Really happy for him to be back in the team ahead of Lukaku, because I just think he's just offered a lot more. And Pulisic is very up and down, but I think he just needs a run of games, and let's see if he builds up the consistency at left wing to score some goals and hopefully be an impact. So I just think those three will link up nice. I don't want us to go down the route of the counter-attacking strikers of Lukaku and Werner, who obviously need that space in behind, because we're not going to get any space, like you said. And I don't think there's any point going with a physical presence against Burnley with Lukaku, because I don't think he's been great with his duels, aerially or ground duels. And I think me and Tchaikovsky will dominate him. So we may as well try and play, have the movement, link up and try and beat that low block with more of our technical players. So that's why I would go with them. Now, Ziyech apparently is fit and back in training. That's what Chelsea put out as news. So I'm just putting him in there to say that from what I'm going off, that he's available. But if he's not, then obviously we'll have to go with someone else. But I hope Ziyech is available, because he's been brilliant in the last few months, and I think he's going to be crucial. If he's having a great game in his favorite position, he might not get to play his favorite position, but if he's having a great day on that right hand side, we're going to need him to help unlock that defense, because it is going to be low block. It is going to be very narrow, and that's just what you expect with Burnley. But listen, this is what big teams have to do. If you want to win these type of games, you have to be able to get past the low block. So I think for me, that attack has to start. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I want to get your thoughts. Like, what do you make of the whole Lukaku thing? Because for me personally, I feel that we've been playing better without him. I know that he did get a goal versus Luton. I didn't think that when he was on the pitch that he like was playing well. I think like, yeah, he got his goal. That's what you expect. But I didn't think like that the movement was there. And I even saw like Timo Werner would be making these runs and Lukaku would just kind of be stagnant and not moving. But obviously it's like a massive conundrum that the club have, because he costs all of this money. He's not necessarily working out. And then you have Kai Havertz, who's putting in these great performances from the same position. And he's really been very good the past couple of weeks. So what do you make of Lukaku and kind of like what the club can do to go forward with this?
I think really for me, I think he should be coming off the bench as an impact sub to try and get the goal when the defense is maybe tiring out. Similar to what Timo's impact role is right now, where both of them are not in form. Both of them are struggling to score goals consistently at the highest level, because I know people are going to bring up the Club World Cup, but in the Premier League, it's not been brilliant from a goal scoring point of view for either of them. So for me, I just think, they're both players that want some space. They want to run in behind. They want to square up defenders. They want to, take their opportunities in that fashion. Better to maybe try and see if we can dominate possession with our more possession-based attackers. Try and take the lead and then bring them on when tired legs in the defense, and maybe they could take advantage of that conditional drop off from the defenders and the rest of the team that we're coming up against, and get that goal. Then if they get that goal, hopefully some confidence, and then hopefully they go on a run. But I've been waiting for Timo Werner to go on a run ever since he came to Chelsea from a goal scoring standpoint, and it's not happened yet. Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen, to be honest. I think I've kind of given up on the whole consistent goal scoring thing from him, because he just doesn't seem to be able to have his shooting boots in this country. And Lukaku, I'm not going to say I've given up on him getting consistent goals, but he's not getting them at the moment, and he doesn't deserve to play. And I think on and off the ball, Kai has given us a lot more. You know, he's keeping defenders occupied. He's maneuvering defenses and shape from right to left. You can never keep track of him because he's always covering quite a lot of space. He's pressing a lot better as well, which is obviously helping us create more chances from the front, so we don't always have to unlock defenses. More turnovers, better on the ball in terms of link up, and obviously, you know, I'm not saying Kai is obviously smashing in the goals because he's not, but you know, neither is Lukaku. So I'd rather take all of those other traits that might help create more opportunities for others and cause more problems than no goals and someone who's a lot more static.
Yeah. But it's like an issue still, I feel, because like it's kind of like the same thing that happened with Kepa. I feel like, yeah, he's a good player, like he can have good form, but you don't want them to cost so much money and then just be like an impact player off of the bench. Like that's not feasible. And now under the new management, I think that, and this is my segue, I think we're going to have to be maybe more pragmatic with the types of players that we buy. And, you know, you're not going to be able to have like a Kepa on the bench who's making 150K a week. I think that it might force us to be more pragmatic with the signings. And I don't know, you think we're going to see a lot of outgoings this summer as a result of it?
It's difficult, isn't it? Because we don't know who the new ownership is going to be. We don't know, first of all, their intentions with the money side of things. Are they coming to take, you know, profits out of the club, dividends? Are they looking to come as a group? And obviously that's, you know, if a group comes, if a consortium comes, that means that every single decision needs to be run through a whole board of people. And that, you know, tends to have a slower process in terms of decision making. That kind of wastes time. It doesn't waste time if the decision is correct, but in footballing senses, you know, we're competing with other clubs. Time is money, literally, in this industry. Yeah. And if we're taking an extra week or an extra 2 weeks to make a decision because we've got to get through the whole panel, that's gonna put us on the back foot. So there's different ways this could go, whether we go with an individual, we go with a group of investors. But I do think, for me, we do definitely need to change the way we operate, because we are, I wouldn't say we're splashing the cash, because we are obviously making the money through sales to compensate for what we spend. We are balancing the books for the last few years. So it's not like we're used to just splashing with no balancing of the books and no sales. But we do need to make sure our signings make sense. And the only way to do that is to have long-term stability. One of the reasons why, one of the few excuses I've given our scouts is they've been searching for profiles for so many different managers in the last 3-4 years. It's impossible for it to actually match the current one, because they're constantly having to change their remit and their approach, because 1 minute it's Sarri, 1 minute it's Lampard, 1 minute it's Tuchel. 3 managers could not be more different in their approach and their system and their philosophy. So it's very difficult for a scout then to say, I'm going to identify this player for this manager that's going to be for here 3, 4, 5 years. On top of that, though, you know, the only way to change that is top to bottom, to get some sort of clear structure, clear stability, and say, these are the scouts, these are, you know, this is the sporting director or the director of football, this is the manager, and for 5 years this is the plan, this is how we're going to function. And unless we have an absolute landslide in the league, that doesn't change. I think Tuchel's the right man for that. But I definitely do feel like we do need to operate a little bit differently at the top. We are kind of in a weird position where I liken it to when we had Michael Imanalo as the director of football, or technical director, and he was bringing in players, and they were promising, talented, young, you know, players like De Bruyne, like Hazard, you know, like Courtois, like Lukaku, the Belgium crop that he brought. But he had a manager in Marino who had a chip on his shoulder and wanted to win trophies and wanted to win now. So the intentions were there for long-term stability and, you know, investing in young players, but then we didn't have the manager to match. Now we have the manager, but we're still not operating like we want long-term stability by splashing 100 million on this guy, splashing 50 million on this guy. And when you put them in a system now, it doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we got a lot of work to do in that regard. And if we're going to have an owner finally that doesn't spend as much, which is literally 90% sure that's going to be the case, you know, he's not going to put as much money in, then we have to have, similar to Liverpool from a recruitment standpoint, you know, people that know what they're doing in terms of recruitment. Because if we get the recruitment wrong and we don't have the money that we had, then we're going to be like some of our rivals who are currently, you know, dousing for 4th place in Tottenham, Arsenal and United.
I know, and that's what I think I'm most scared about. There's like a lot to unpack. The first thing that I want to say is like Liverpool's recruitment. I feel like they get these like very pointed players. Like look how well Diaz has just slotted in
Yeah.
to their front three, and he didn't cost well. How much was he?
I
Maybe
think he was
like
about 35 million, something
yeah,
like that,
that's the
35,
number I
37.
have.
Yeah. But that's good. That's good business. He's so
Very
young and he's got so much potential. That's good. That's good business.
and he just slots right in. And it's been a while, I feel, since Chelsea have like, and I'm not saying like we've had players that we've bought, like Ben Chilwell, for example. He's 50 million. I think it was worth it. Like now seeing what he's brought, I think Mendy was a really good buy, but that was Peter Cech's doing. But I feel like it's been a while since we found like a gem, like a diamond in the rough, that's like pretty cheap and then like turns out to be like a superstar. I know Mendy is that for me, but aside from him, because I do credit Petr Cech to doing that. So do you think that with this new ownership, it's going to be super important to have like a director of football role, which we
Huge.
currently don't have?
Huge. I mean, I've liked Czech's targets so far. Mendy, Chouameni are the two clear ones that I've seen that he's liked. I've liked his targets. You could say Lampard was definitely heavily responsible for Chilwell. Maybe for Ziyech, I'm not sure, but because obviously he watched him in the Ajax game at Stamford Bridge, so I think he had a big say on that. Then some people say a lot of those other ones were club targets, but of course he has to sign off on that and agree. I'm sure he gets some sort of say. And Thiago Silva was just, everybody can see that he's a generational legendary defender. You don't need a scouting, scout to tell you that. But maybe it's just a thing of too many people trying to have too many. And this is where the consortium worries me, because if too many people are kind of like talking at the same time, if there's too many cooks in the kitchen, sometimes you don't cook anything, and that's my worry, is that if we want to sign players and this guy has an idea and this guy has an idea and there's no clear direction, it's just people just pulling apart and just disagreeing. And that's how you end up with signings that don't really make any sense, because there's no clear vision. So you can sign good players for your system and then suddenly sign counter-attacking strikers that fit a possession-based, or you're trying to play possession-based football, which is something Man City would not do, So it's one of those things where you need a sporting director to work with the manager and a few of his selected scouts, and that's it. Everybody else just literally just don't say anything. Just give them the money. If you have employed the right people, they'll make sure that you get the right people in terms of signings, and that's it. No Marina chipping in, apart from the negotiating. No opinions on bringing in a player. No Roman saying I want Fernando Torres just because I really love him. Like literally just a group of people who know what they're doing in terms of squad building, and you go with them. Obviously, I like Campos. I just because I know what he's done at Lille, at Monaco. I like, obviously Emanalo was brilliant, as well. He did great things, even though at a time, I think when he was at Chelsea, he actually got a bit of criticism. I can't remember because I wasn't on socials, but Ragnick is actually quite good in that job. I know he's currently manager, but he's done well with the Leipzig team and whatnot. So there's definitely DOFs out there. We just have to select the right one, and hopefully Tuchel has worked with them, maybe previously. That will help the working relationship. But I think the key is actually making sure we also keep some sort of stability and don't just rip up the whole hierarchy at once as well. Don't just, dash Marina and check to the side and then bring in just a bunch of new people. We need to have a little transitional phase, because otherwise I think that would just be detrimental to the club if we just ripped everything up and started again.
Well, speaking of Marina, obviously she has like a very long standing relationship with Roman, so I'm unsure if she's gonna decide to stay at Chelsea if she says, "Well, I'm gonna go as well," and that's it. And I think that that's probably one of like the big question marks that I have right now, whether or not she's going to decide to stay at Chelsea. What do you think?
I think it's 50-50 because I mean she's worked with him for since 1997, I think it was, as a PA outside of football. So she's been with him before football. Obviously she's someone that literally the right hand for him, so he trusts her massively, and that's why she was running day-to-day operations at the club. And got promoted, I think, in 2013, I think, to chief executive. So she wasn't as high up this whole time, of course, but she worked her way up through the club, and now she's obviously in the most powerful position. I personally think she's needed. I think people, when they say Marina out, I don't think they really are grasping just how much work she has to get through and how much she's doing. I think a lot of people are just focusing on the transfer window because that's obviously when fans are most excited, and the summer window is all they really care about. But
you know, in terms of sponsorship deals like the Nike deal, you know, Yokohama, all of these deals that get done that Chelsea need the best, not great. And we know that because the stadium is quite small. We need these sponsorship deals to be the creme de la creme of sponsorship deals. And she's a massive part as to why we're getting some great deals and why we have that Nike deal for, I think it might be 10 years or something like that. So she's important to have, even if you don't like the transfers and the way she gets involved so heavily. I can understand that, and you know, we can discuss that, but she's still needed from a negotiation standpoint. And she was here when Emanalo was here, so it's not like she can't work with a technical director. She's working with Czech right now. She's working, you know, so there's no reason why she can't work with a technical director. You just have to redefine her role, and you know, kind of just like, you know, compartmentalize her energy a little bit and say, listen, this is your role. You're not going to be in charge of everything anymore. I'm just going to just give you this role where she's best at. So yeah, I think she's crucial to keep, to be honest, because like I said, the new people coming in are probably new to the football landscape as a whole, dealing with agents, dealing with, you know, young players who are running out of contracts, all of these things. I think I seen an article the other day where she dealt with she had over 500 negotiations during the summer. We're talking about with parents. This is the stuff that gets overlooked when you've got to have the negotiations with the parents, the talks with the parents of the players, the young players to the senior players, but more so the young players, of course. The agents that she's having negotiations with, she's setting up meetings with other board of directors who are potentially looking to sell Koundé, but then they need to get a replacement in, so you've got to wait. And then people are saying, oh, she's not doing anything. Why is she wasting time? This is not FIFA. You can't just sign someone. Like, if you're trying to sign a centre back and you want to sign from a European club and they're a top European club, they're probably going to need a replacement. So while they're looking for their replacement, you have to wait. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do to speed that up. You know, that's just how it goes in business. You can't just expect everything to just happen when you want it. I'm not saying she's perfect. She's definitely done things wrong, but people make this job sound way easier than it actually is. This job is so difficult, and that's why she's respected in football, because the job that she's doing is not easy. All of these negotiations, all of these clauses that she's put into the contracts. Again, some of the reason why we're in this position is because she's made mistakes and she's had poor transfer windows and we've signed really poor players, you know, so there's no excuse in that. But you can see Chelsea are trying to slowly unravel that. It's just taking some time because the deals they done were so bad and the wages they put some of these players on were so bad. But, you know, even still, for me, you know, she is very important to the club, and she's important to Tuchel. Tuchel says that she's got a great relationship with her. She's got a great relationship with Czech. If she goes, you know, that makes Tuchel's position a little bit more unstable than it does when she's here.
Yeah, no, definitely. You have like so many awesome thoughts about Marina, and I really love how you explained like it's not as easy as people make it sound. Ali says, "What, you can't just demand it on Twitter and it happens,"
No.
which I love it. It's so true. So hopefully the club can do whatever they can to keep her, because like you said, I think that she's really important. She's also like, she's not my twin, but people have said that we bear resemblance.
Oh man,
So
I've
that
seen
is
this. Yeah, I've seen you say this before. I've seen this. I think you put
there's
this
a
on
running
Instagram.
joke on Twitter. Yeah.
That was right after you ate the lemon, and I still don't understand how you're eating these lemons. Still to this day, I'm following Instagram. I'm seeing you eat these lemons. I'm like, how is she doing this? This is insane.
so many messages like that is disgusting.
It's insane. Like, it's literally so insane. I just don't know how you eat lemons like that and just don't flinch. I would be twitching. My eye would be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would be all over the shop.
I've always been like this. Like, as a kid, I would just like scoop the insides out and eat it. Like, I just love it.
It's so bitter. I don't know, man. It's crazy. I'm gonna try it now. One day I'm gonna try it. I'll just send you my reaction as well.
Like a little triangle of a lemon. It's so good.
I'm gonna try it and I'll send you my reaction. You're gonna
do it.
Yeah, watch.
For you guys that don't know, on my Instagram, I posted like a story of me just eating a lemon wedge, and I love it. And people are like, "What the heck is this girl doing? Like, how is this possible that she's eating this?"
She's tapped.
Yeah, totally. I did a poll, like, am I crazy? And it was like 80-20. Yes.
Oh yeah. I definitely voted. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, Robbie goes, "How are you eating lemons? The taste is so good. It's like not bitter to me. It's just sour. Like I don't know. I love it. It's so good." Um, but anyways, I did want to talk about like one more thing that you kind of mentioned. My congestion is coming. I feel it
Yeah,
like
I can
on
hear
set.
it.
Um, that
Right.
you already touched on this, but that's Stamford Bridge, and that's also like an unknown because we know that there were plans to renovate Stamford Bridge, because of the capacity in order to be able to compete with other teams. Obviously, Spurs renovated their stadium. You know, United have like 80,000 capacity, somewhere around there. And we have what, like 44,000. So there are plans. So do you think like whoever these new owners are going to try to look to make that investment into renovating Stamford Bridge?
Mm. I think this is their priority. This is going to be their priority. I think I've seen a lot of people criticize Abramovich for trying to move stadium, for trying to move location, for considering Battersea, for considering. I mean, it wasn't even just that. We was actually trying to expand on the current stadium. We all saw the plans, the cathedral, I think we was calling it, and obviously that planning permission expired at some point because obviously he had issues, coming in and out of the country. But make no mistake, whoever comes in is going to be much more aggressive, I think, on this stadium front than Abramovich ever was. Abramovich was kind of like teasing us with it. Guys, I know you don't like to move. I know you don't want to move. I know, there's a lot of emotional connection. I love that stadium. Do you know what I'm saying? I know there's a lot of emotional attachment. That's how Chelsea was, started. We know all of the history. We know all of the history about the stadium. It's iconic. It's literally draped in our history. We are a club because of that patch of land. But this is the real world. Wake up. Welcome to the real world. And in the real world, that stadium is too small. That area is too difficult to expand in. And if we are going to keep up and stay at the top of European football, we need a bigger stadium. We have a smaller stadium than Sunderland. We have a smaller stadium than Newcastle, than Rangers, than Celtic. I could keep going and going, then Aston Villa. We have a small stadium. And whether you like it or not, at some point, we are going to have to expand or move. It's going to happen. You're not going to tell me we're going to sit in that stadium for the next 100 years. It's not possible. People don't like change, and obviously they see it as a disrespect to the club and the history. I don't want us to go. I would much prefer that we expand that stadium in that spot. I don't want us to be the next Arsenal where we're moving from Woolwich to Islington and crossing the Thames and put us in Hertfordshire or some Buckingham or something. I don't know. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see us renamed into, the Travago Stadium like they do with the Emirates and the Etihad. I don't want to see that. I don't even want to see us even play at Wembley for 2 years. But business is business, and you have to accept that these things could and will happen because it's necessary. You can't say to someone who's investing, billions or millions and millions and almost $1 billion into the club that they can't try and maximize some revenue in some way, shape, or form, which is what they have to do. Unless you want ticket prices to go up. And then when you ask these people, okay, we'll stay here, but ticket prices are going up. What now? And they're like, well, I don't want the ticket prices to go up because that's not fair on the average fan. I agree. But, you can't have it both ways. You can't expect ticket prices to stay low and then we only are able to sell to 42,000 people when we could easily sell to 60. The maths is not mathing.
The maths
is not mathing. And I don't understand why people don't just maths it. Just let the maths for once. This is not like, I'm sorry, it's not an owner's job to run the club by your emotions. It's really not. I would love them to have an emotional connection. I would love them to get it. I would love them to be proper Chelsea. But an owner's job is to run the football club, and it is to look out for the future of the football club. It's not to run the club on your emotions and how you feel on Sunday and how you feel on Monday morning. It's really not. So you just have to get real. I'm afraid, people. That's just what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I think like that's probably like the biggest change. Like whoever the new owner is obviously going to look at it as a business investment. And I think like that's just normal. I think it was very, like not common that Roman was just like willing to pump as much money as he wanted into it, and he didn't look at it as a business. He just wanted to win. what I will say is like Atletico de Madrid had like very similar issues. They hatched their stadium like I'm not sure where it was located, but I think it was like more in the near like the center of Madrid, and they relocated to the Wanda Metropolitano, and people were like super against it, super against it. But then they built this like really beautiful stadium, and now everybody loves it, and it's really nice. And I went, and the stadium was like incredible, and it it has like 70-80,000 capacity, something like that, and it was like really really well done. And so obviously I love Stamford Bridge. I don't want us to move. I love the stadium and the club, and it's just like I love that you just like walk on the street and then out of nowhere it's like, oh, here's Stamford Bridge. It's just appeared. But just to play devil's advocate for anybody who is on a like doesn't want to move, like it's happened for Atletico Madrid, and the stadium was really nice, and it's still like pretty well located. And I mean, it's a really cool stadium. I would suggest anybody try to visit it because it was a cool experience. I'm just taking a look at the comments. Yeah, Terrence is saying that we're relying a lot on Roman, and we're going to have to make drastic changes. And we did talk about that. Like, I think it's going to force us to be like much more pragmatic in how we go about business. And we talked about how we're going to need to employ a director of football. And the last thing I want to cover with all of this, like, who do you think you think that there's gonna be like a massive exodus this season, like this summer, to try to get like, the wage bill down, because we're paying like ridiculous wages right now?
This is why, I mean, yeah, we are. And, 100K probably odd on Barkley. Drinkwater's leaving, which is great news because his contract's running out and he's on loan at Reading. So that's money gone, 120K or something gone. Babarahman, I think, might be running out of contract. I hope he is. He's on loan at Reading as well. But you've got players like Alonso on big wages. They're not starters. You've got players like Kepa. Kepa's got to go, like, respectfully, because I like Kepa. He's recovered from his poor form, but you can't have a goalkeeper on those wages. It's ridiculous. It is just nonsensical to have a goalkeeper costing as much as he does. So as much as everybody loves Kepa now, and he's revived like a fortnight, and he's great, but he cannot stay. He cannot stay. You cannot have him as a second choice goalkeeper to Mendy when Mendy's the clear one, and he's a great competitive too, but not on those wages. He's not. Like, unless you're going to take a wage cut, mate, it's time to go. Do you know what I'm saying? So he's got to go. And Werner, I'm afraid Werner, I'm gonna say it now, 270K a week for what we're getting is not value for money.
That's like absolutely mad. Like I can't
Yeah.
believe that. That's so crazy.
Yeah. It's 270K a week for a lack of technical refined finishing and ability on the ball, but good movement and whatnot. But nah, not for 270K a week. So for people that are like Werner, he's been useful for us. He's obviously created moments with the Champions League, the decoy run for Kai. I really wish it worked out for him, but we didn't sign him to then go and sign another striker on 300K a week in Lukaku. We signed him because he was meant to be the striker. And the only reason why Lukaku's here is because Werner hasn't worked out so far. If Werner would bang in the goals like Aubameyang at Arsenal when he first joined in the first season, just kind of similar player, I guess you could say. If Werner was banging in the goals in his first season, then Lukaku wouldn't need to have been signed. But he didn't. So we had to go and get another striker. And this season, Werner's still not banging in the goals. So Werner absolutely has to go. Like, I have made that in my head clear now that he is the top attacker that has to go. And it's also because he's easy to sell. Bundesliga clubs are going to be chasing him. Because what's going to happen with Werner is he's going to go back to the Bundesliga and he's going to score goals. It's going to happen. Like, he's going to go back to the Bundesliga and he's going to absolutely wipe the floor with it again. And people are going to be like, oh my God, we should have kept him. No. That's his environment. That's where he's best. Fantastic for him. Not every time a player leaves and starts scoring goals, now you can say, oh, they would have scored goals here. It's like Aubameyang at Barcelona. Aubameyang's time at Arsenal was done. It really was done. But new environment, new challenge, new lease of life, new environment, new people to prove. he scores goals, and that's just how it goes in football. It's not every time we have to regret every single exit, just because they start doing well. So he needs to go to a German club, and I think there'll be definitely clubs looking at him because he's just destined to do well over there. He had a great record, so but you got to get him off the wage bill. He's too expensive.
Who is that? Sorry.
Werner, yeah, with Werner.
Oh, Werner. Sorry, I was reading the chat because it says Lukaku 330k a week, Werner 280k. Saul, I'm not so worried about because we didn't pay. Yeah, it's a loan.
Even Hudson-Odoi. That's a good point. Hudson-Odoi is on 120.
And is this the comment you're referring to?
Yeah, Hudson-Odoi on a loan move, I would look at. I think he needs regular game time now. He hasn't really pushed on as much as I wanted. I thought he had a nice patch of 6 games during the season when he was starting on a good run, but that's not enough. That's not enough to make that jump up to regular first team football. He's still got things he needs to improve on his finishing. I think taking on players, he could be a lot more, a lot more aggressive as well. So you got to loan him out probably as well if you can. The only reason why potentially he wasn't loaned out last season is because we didn't have depth at right wing back, so they kept him to use him in that role as depth. But listen, on 120k a week, I think he's on. He's not giving value for money either, so he's got to go out on loan. Loftus-Cheek, 150k a week. That's another one. He signed a new deal. Yeah, he signed a new deal. And
I'm so behind on this.
Yeah, it's all right. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Just like
150k Loftus-Cheek is on, and he's not a first choice. He's not even really close to first choice. I'm being completely honest. He's 4th at best in the pecking order behind the 3 seniors. He's another one that you've got to look out on the wage bill. I know it's emotional. Everybody loves him. Loftus-Cheek, one of our own. But is he giving you value for money? If you're looking at chopping off this wage bill, these are the players you've got to look at. And Saul on 200k a week. Listen, we ain't signing Saul. Do you know what I'm saying? Bring back Gallagher. Bring back Gallagher. He's way cheaper.
Yeah. I did think he had a very good game though. Like I was like, oh, it's a bummer that like it's coming towards the end of the season and he finally starts like looking more in his own. But yeah, I totally agree with you on Callum. I forgot that he was making so much. I've been saying this for like a really long time, guys, and everybody came for me. And so I've been quiet that I said I felt like Callum needed some more development. That's not a bad thing. He's I think we forget how young he is, that he's still a young player. And young players need like game time week in, week out, and he's not necessarily getting that at Chelsea. I think when he did have that span of games, he did look better. But for the quality that you're expecting from somebody at Chelsea, and then on top of that, somebody on those wages, you expect some more consistency in how they play, in the decision-making in the final third. And for me, sometimes he puts in like a beautiful ball or a beautiful cross, but the shooting needs to improve and like the final third decision-making needs to improve. And that would come with game time, with being on loan. But like you said, like I think we could potentially see a massive exodus. It's going to be interesting to see like what actually happens if Marina stays, because we know that she is very like resilient as well with like her transfers, and she doesn't want to lose money, and that's like part of the reason why we've held on to Kepa for so long, and we just keep renewing these players and sending them onto loans year after year to try to get something back for them. But you're right, like it's not manageable to keep up these massive wage bills. So I do think we're going to see a lot of players leave. I think Christensen is going to Barcelona.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I think Rudiger's going to stay.
Hopefully.
I really feel like he's going to stay. I think Azpilicueta is going to Barcelona as well. Against my like my wishes.
Yeah, against your wishes. Yeah, against your will.
I'm literally going to cry when that news comes out officially. And yeah, I think you're right. I think that we probably try to sell Kepa. Like you said, he's been great for us recently, and I feel that we have like 2 really good goalkeepers now. But at the end of the day, he is still the second goalkeeper, and there's no denying that Edouard Mendy is world class at this point, and he's incredible. And you just can't have somebody on those wages, like you said. I'm trying to go through Werner. I totally agree with. I would try to maybe sell Lukaku in the summer.
Yeah,
Maybe that's
no,
what
I'm
I'll
not
do.
against it. If he doesn't
Um,
improve his performances on 300 and something K a week,
it's
I'm not gonna say
so
no to
much
that.
money. It's just so much money. And the thing with Lukaku as well is that we bought him knowing that we were never really going to get as much for him because he's already what, like
20,
28,
28, 29.
29.
Yeah. This
Like,
is the thing. He was always meant to be like, this is the final destination. We're getting the value from him with longevity over a resale, you know. But unfortunately, you know, that's not how it's going in terms of form and performance as well. So yeah, the thing is with Lukaku is either you keep him until he's 34, 33 minimum, and you really get that value, and that means he has to perform in that time, or you sell him as soon as possible and you try and get as much money back on that transfer fee as possible. You can't do an in between where give him one more season, but then he still doesn't do anything, and then now he's 30, and we can't do that. It's either you have to make a very definitive decision on Lukaku because he's on a lot of money, he costs a lot of money, and his value is only going down. It's not going up. Every single day his value goes down. It's like having a share in I don't know, Dogecoin or some shit. I don't know what coin's failing right now. I think they're all failing.
yeah, I have no idea. But yeah, I think like the thing with Lukaku, I never really like when we bought him, I thought like, okay, he's adapted his game since he's been at United and Everton. He's obviously like world class, and I like thought that he was going to slot into the system. But now that I see how he plays and how Tuchel wants Chelsea to play, it just feels like it's a piece that doesn't work. You either have to change the entire system to fit around Lukaku, or you change Lukaku, because I feel like we've seen now that we've been playing better when he hasn't been on the pitch. And I just don't know. I just don't feel like we play to his strengths, and it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for a player that doesn't fit into your system and a system that Tuchel won the Champions League with. It's a really big conundrum, and I don't know how the finances are going to sort, because I know like Roman forgave the 1.5 billion that Chelsea owe him. So maybe we just try to get everybody off of the books and sell many players. There's so many that I can't believe are still on, like Bakayoko. When's the last time you heard about
Yeah.
him? Batshuayi,
Even
like
even Malang Sarr's on 100K, you know, and
what?
this is why when people say, "Oh, he was free, but he then got money that you know equated to him being free." And the issue is when he's on 100K, is yeah, everybody's saying, "Oh, we can only make a profit." This is not an easy window for people right now in this climate to pay for players, and the transfer fee is not the issue. Is who wants to pay those wages? Is the level of club that he could go to able to pay him 100K? Probably not. So this is it's not as easy as it seems with even players like him. So we just got a lot of players that are on too much money. A lot of them are running out of contract in 2023. Thankfully, Barkley's running out of contract then. Marcus Alonso's running out of contract then. I would love for some of these guys to just go at cut prices this summer. But even if they want to hang tight, and see out their contracts, hopefully we just don't renew. But yeah, man, we've got some serious madness going on with them wages. It's not good.
That's so he goes soar on 100K. Like I
Yeah.
had absolutely no idea about this. That's crazy. Terrence has asked what players out on loan can come back and slot into the first team. And I think that this is a good question as well, because I think we're going to maybe see, hopefully, like not more reliance on the academy, but I think, like we said, we're maybe going to be more prudent with transfers. Chelsea do have like a world class academy
Yeah.
of players that can come and slot into the team, like we've seen, like Mason Mount. There's so many players. I mean, the two players that come to my mind are Conor Gallagher and Armando. I saw that it's not Broja, it's like
Roja.
Bro.
Raya or something.
Broya or
Raya.
something. It
Yeah.
was like,
Raya. Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to remember this, but I'm trying to commit it, and it's kind of like not stuck. But he said like Broja was not the correct pronunciation. But I think they're both having like incredible seasons, and they could probably both come and slot right into this first team. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we have to temper expectations a tiny bit because obviously they're coming from different systems. Southampton and Crystal Palace don't dominate the ball as much as we do. So, of course, they have a little bit more space in behind the both of them when they play. They're involved in more transitions, more counters. So, when they come to Chelsea, there is going to have to be that adaptation of playing for a bigger club, higher pressure, more output needed. And obviously, systematically, they're playing in a different system, different team, and up against different types of opposition in terms of the way they set up. So someone like Gallagher, for me, to get the best out of Gallagher, I said it a few months ago. If you're watching him get all these goals and assists, why would you then want to drop him deeper? You need to give him the anchor to allow him to go forward and to showcase what he can do. So either you put him in the front three in the 3-4-3, which is kind of not really ideal, or you put him in the midfield, but you give him the opportunity to go forward in the advanced role, the advanced 8 role, kind of like what Loftus-Cheek maybe was playing under Sarri. So that's something for Gallagher. If you don't do those things and you just throw him in there and expect it to work, it's probably going to drop off in terms of his output and his efficiency there. So he's not going to start games, but he should definitely be in the squad, and he should be replacing someone like probably a Loftus-Cheek, to be honest, and a Saul. And then if you're looking at the forward situation, Broja, for me, is very dependent on what happens with Werner or Lukaku. I don't think Werner, Lukaku, and Broja can coexist in the same squad. One of them have to be sold. Kai is different because Kai kind of drops off a bit, but even Kai is, for me right now, best at the striker position. And will Broja want to play third string, second string? I'm sure second string he could deal with, but too far down the depth chart. And I think when he's just come from week in, week out football at Southampton, he's got the hunger and the taste for it now. It's going to be very hard for him to adapt to playing just a lot less football. And then you're still asking for the same output and impact that he's getting at Southampton. Part of the reason why he's getting these goals is because he's consistently playing and he's made to feel important and reliable. So this is where I do question Lukaku and Broja, if that even works, as a front two. I wouldn't put, I don't know. I don't really want to see a front two at Chelsea for any sort of long sustained period. It's just not something I'm a massive fan of. So it's going to probably be a one up top. And I personally, in the dream scenario, I would have Kai, Broja, and a goal scoring wide player who can play up top if he has to, like a Jota, but is starting out wide. And that's a new signing. And I'd sell Lukaku and I'd sell Werner. I'd sell both of them. They're both off the wage bill then. So over 550k off the wage bill. And they're both not suited to the way we're playing at the moment, and they're not playing well anyway. So that would be my dream scenario. Very unrealistic, probably not going to happen. And then in terms of Colwell as well, the final guy is at Huddersfield, the centre back. I think he's crucial. Even if Rudiger does stay, I think he'd be perfect to be deputy to Rudiger at the left side centre back position as like a left footer. We're linked with like Kilman, I think, from Wolves, just as a precaution if Rudiger goes, because he's left-footed and he's been doing pretty well. They've been great defensively. But ideally, you keep Rudiger, good timeline for Colwell, and he's deputy there. And he gets 1 year learning from Thiago Silva. For me, he's better than Malang Sarr as well. On the ball, he's much better. Aerially, he's better. Physically, he's better. I just think Levi Colwell is going to be leaps and bounds above Malang Sarr. So that's the 3 players I would immediately put in. And then there's like your Ian Matsons if Alonso goes, and what do we do there? And there's other people that will come up. But for me, Billy Gilmore, Ampadu's having a good season out in Italy as well. If Ampadu impresses Tuchel, he could potentially be an option. But those 3 that I named are like obviously they're the top ones. They're the ones performing the best as well. And then the rest of them are like, could have another loan or could be sold for profit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I forgot about Colwell. I'm like so curious about like what the summer is going to hold, like how realistic it is that we get rid of, like, I feel like for a while we've been saying like we just need to kind of like get rid of a lot of players. Like we just have such a massive squad and we're sending them all out on loan, and we just need to like get these players off of our books. TK13 made an interesting point, and it's something that I was going to bring up and then I forgot. Georgie hasn't been starting the last couple of games. Not sure if he's had like a bit of an injury or what's going on. I will say like Kovacic has been incredible when he's been on the pitch, and N'Golo Kante I think is still N'Golo Kante. If he's fit, he starts. Do you know if he's been injured? I haven't seen anything. I just assumed that he wasn't injured. He just wasn't selected. And I was thinking maybe he is going to leave in the summer as well.
Yeah, so Jorginho is, for me, he wasn't injured, not from what I saw. I think it's all tactical. Palmeiras, tactically, I agreed with him not being in the team. Liverpool, tactically, I agreed with him not being in the team. So then the only other game he missed was Lille, that I can remember. Palace, I'm not sure what happened against Palace there. I have to check it. But Lille, he didn't play. I was surprised he didn't start against Lille. But it is what it is. And then Luton, he comes back into the team. I'm not really looking into it too much. I don't think it's kind of impossible for him to not be an important part of that midfield when we've only got him, Jorginho, and Kova that are like top level, and then Loftus-Cheek is still trying to get himself into the conversation. He's been a bit up and down. Some good performances at the start, then the Watford performance, which was really poor with Saul, but then again, Saul was having a bad time at that point as well. So those two are just like jostling for that fourth position. I think Loftus-Cheek's got it, but it's to and fro because even Saul's improved slightly as well, but both of them way off the pace and compared to the other three. And he's running out of contract in 2023, so his future is up for grabs. Especially with a new owner, we don't know what they're going to do. With these contract negotiations, we don't know what they're going to do with Rudiger. Christensen's gone, like you said, probably as well. Aspie, but Rudiger, Kante, Jorginho, all these contract negotiations coming up. Those are the three most critical ones for 2022 and 3 for the midfielders. We don't know how much they're willing to offer, how stingy they're going to be, all of these things. So it really does put everybody's future up for doubt if they're running out of contract this or next year. So his future is definitely up in the air. And I have no idea what's going to happen because obviously his agent doesn't sound easy to deal with. He definitely, I feel like Jorginho is his cash cow. Like, when you have, say you got 3 kids, but you got your favorite, and you don't want to tell anyone it's your favorite kid because it just makes you look bad, which is what it would do for his agent. But it's very clear for his agent, Jorginho is his cash cow. That's his main one. And on top of that as well, he's going to make the most money from Jorginho if he moves. And he probably would like Jorginho to make one more move before he starts to get on in age because it's going to help him in agent fees. So, this is the thing with agents is that they're not always doing what's best for the player's interest. It might be for Jorginho's interest, but they're also making money from transfer deals as well and new contracts. So they also want some money out of this. And like I said, I don't think he represents a roster of top players. He's not Raiola or anyone or Mendes. So he really needs Jorginho to make him some money, I'm sure. So that's probably why he keeps talking so much. And I think when it comes to Jorginho, it just depends on what he wants as well, because we just don't know, do we?
Yeah, that's the thing. We don't know. Wow, we've talked about so much, guys. I hope that you enjoy it. We've got to everything and more than I thought that we would in this stream, and I've really enjoyed it. Over 100 people watching. Make sure to hit that like button so that other people can find my channel and find Matisse as well. Subscribe if you're not. I'm gonna close out here because I have to make dinner and it's 8 p.m. getting late, and my congestion is through the roof right now. But Matisse, thank you so much for joining.
Pleasure.
I'm sure everybody already knows you, but if they don't, for whatever reason, let them know where they can find you.
MAH, do you know what I'm saying? Just there. The @ as well is for all my social medias. Twitch is the @ so if you don't know I'm on Twitch, really Twitch is what I'll plug. If you should know maybe YouTube, but Twitch, that's the @ that's where I do the watch-alongs for all the games that I want to watch, not just Chelsea, but I watch the Champions League games, the Europa League games. I was watching Dortmund versus Rangers. We'll be doing, any of our supposed transfer targets. We'll be watching those players playing their divisions as well. Chouameni, all these guys. And there I have other content there as well, just streams as well, because I don't do streams on YouTube. So all my streams are on Twitch, and I've got guests and we have a schedule there. So definitely check out the Twitch and check out the YouTube if you haven't already. Just put up a preview for the Burnley game, talking about the weather because it's very important. And yeah, big up Ellie for having me on as always. Pleasure.
No, thanks for joining. We'll be back at our usual time at 7 p.m. for me, 6 p.m. UK time on Tuesdays. Right ahead of more Champions League action as well. Hopefully I'm feeling better by then. I think so. But that's going to be really exciting because there's a lot of interesting Champions League games coming up this week as well. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for spending a part of your evening with us. I hope that you enjoyed it. Like I said, drop it a like. Sorry for being absent, for being sick. I'm going to be more active now that I'm feeling better and come out with a Burnley review after the game. Hopefully, good news. Because after Burnley, it's usually a coin toss. Not going to lie. So hope you have a great rest of your evenings. If you're watching this on replay, a great rest of your day, whatever time you're watching it. And until next time, we're out. Bye.